on the campaign trail. Suzanne Bonamici never returns our phone calls, so you might as well get all the airtime.
Well, and she won't ever meet me at these joint ventures or appearances that we're supposed to be having, so I show up and I'm the only one there because I guess I'm the only one who wants to talk to voters.
You know what? The thing is, I know that you may not be aware of this, but, well, I don't know, maybe you're hyper aware of it, who knows, but she's not viewed as being very terribly bright, and it's too bad, but she's just not viewed as being terribly bright, and you know, I think that might have something to do with the fact that Willamette Week has not put out the full video of your endorsement interviews.
That's interesting. You're right. They have not. And, in fact, it's disappointing because we sat together for, I believe, an hour and 45 minutes, just about. This is several weeks ago when we were going through that endorsement process. Of course, it wasn't ever likely that they would endorse me, but I took advantage of the opportunity because I wanted to answer the questions, and I knew that they would put that video up on their website so that the voters decide for themselves. And frankly, I think we did pretty well for that in that interview. And then you're right; they've only put about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Online.
Where's the rest, Willamette Week? I'd like to know that. You know, John is asking a question, and if you want to take some questions, that'd be great, Rob, because you've already answered all mine. But 503-225-0860. He's got a question because it's the latest ad bunch that Nancy Pelosi and her PAC has put here. I actually saw that for the first time last night, and my mouth fell open. It was just that bad. And John, what did you want to ask Rob Cornilles about those commercials?
Thank you so much for taking my call, Victoria. Rob, I don't like the way Suzanne has been lying and being disingenuous and dishonest in her campaign ads, especially with the employee thing. I mean, that was a flat-out lie.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the Nancy Pelosi one.
Yeah, but my question is, Rob, just for a second, what if you were to get on the TV camera, do an ad like this, sit in front of the camera calmly and say, okay, people of Oregon, or,
Oregon.
Yeah. Do you want the same of what has been going on for the past 4 or 5 years? If you want the same of what's been going on, then please vote for my opponent. But if you want change, then just ask them flat out. Just be straight with people. What do you want?
Well, I appreciate the question, John. The first thing that comes to my mind is we have done that. We haven't done it necessarily in an ad because funds are limited, and I don't have super PACs coming in, dumping millions of dollars into this place for me. So we, with our limited resources, we have to be very selective in how we use that time and those monies. But we have been asking that question throughout this campaign, every chance I get. Do you want more of the same? Do you want the status quo? Do you want the Portland elite to continue to dictate what happens in this region? Or do you want to go a different direction? And I would like to respond to that ad that you've alluded to about the job situation.
Yeah.
John, you're absolutely right. They have lied, once again, about the things that I've said, the things that I've done. They're mixing up two issues. The first is GameFace has employed 60 people over the last 16-plus years. Not all at one time. We've never suggested we had 60 people all at once. But we've had 60 employees. Right now we have 6 employees. And that's largely because, really, since 2009, I've been running for Congress. And in this tough economy, while you're running for Congress as a small business owner, it probably wouldn't be responsible to continue to hire people when you can't even tell them what the future is going to look like. But the other part of it is, if I may, Victoria, is the 500 number. Those are 500 careers that we helped launch for people who never worked for me, but through our company's services now have full-time jobs in our industry. So they've taken those two figures and tried to suggest that I have implied that I've had 500 employees. And they know the truth, but they don't care about the truth. All they want to do is fool us in, just like they fooled us about David Wu, in order to win an election.
And the thing is, I was telling you last night, because I happened to see you when I was over there making phone calls on your behalf, and that was a lot of fun, actually. You should get more people to do that.
Victoria, you were the queen of callers last night.
Oh, was I now? It was fun.
Everybody loved having you here, and you really did a good job. You were banging out the phone calls, one after another. It was awesome how much you helped us. So I thank you again for everything you did last night.
There were a couple of times when people, and eventually I started using my last name because I thought, well, maybe, if you just sort of blurt everything out, and people were going, what? What? Like, what? It was really funny. It was actually very funny. So, but if you could say what you really, really wanted to say to the voters about Suzanne Bonamici and the David Wu connection, her husband being his attorney, and all of that, would you just blurt it out? I want everybody to hear it. Because there are too many people who say, I didn't know that Suzanne Bonamici, Slobo's husband, was David Wu's attorney, who was threatening to sue the Oregonian if they aired or printed that first story about the rape allegation at Stanford. I mean, you say it.
Well, Victoria, if you're trying to incite me, you don't need to worry about it, because I've been saying this now for quite some time. Whether or not it's cutting through in the media is another story, because we've been very frustrated that this has not gotten out. But just to review the record, Suzanne Bonamici's husband was David Wu's attorney for 10 or 12 years during all of his misbehavior and while he was assaulting women. And her husband threatened to sue the Oregonian if they went with the story during the 2004 election. She has called David Wu a family friend. She's contributed to his campaign. She's defended him. She's campaigned for him. And in fact, in the 2010 election, during the primary, she tried to strong-arm one of his opponents from running against David Wu. And so now the establishment essentially wants to reward her for that behavior by elevating her to this position in Congress.
I don't see how women elect a woman who's been covering for a man who's been abusing women.
Well, she has on numerous occasions in the campaign, and I don't really want to spend all of my time talking about the tit for tat, because the issues are really what matter in this election. But I will say she has spent numerous occasions to try to suggest that I'm anti-woman. But I find that very, very difficult to take when, in fact, she's the one who has supported and defended the man who assaulted women. And meanwhile, I've been doing a lot of things as a private citizen to support women, whether they come from battered shelters or they're living in shelters for battered women, whether or not they're looking for a career, I've assisted them, whether my wife is very involved in activities to help women get back into the workforce who have been down and out for a variety of reasons. There's a number of things that my wife and I have done, not to mention been involved in the stopping of child trafficking in our region. So you're right. I will never step back and play second fiddle to my opponent's role as being an advocate for women. But I got to say, what really matters to your listeners right now, and what really matters to all of our neighbors in this area, is we've got to get this economy moving again, and we cannot do it with people who vote 98% of the time with the party, who only use talking points from Washington, D.C. We need creativity. We need outside-of-the-box thinking. We need a strong voice in Congress, someone who will be an advocate for what we do well here. And we cannot afford, as the Oregonian termed my opponent, someone who is excruciatingly cautious.
Well, that's where she comes up with Slobo, because she's so slow, she couldn't figure out how she felt about an issue until after it had already been decided, so she's just a little slow.
Well, we can't afford that. We've had a backbencher, with David Wu, we had him for 13 years, and it did not assist the economy in this area. But as I said, we need someone who knows how to create a job, who will take that experience back to Washington and be able to say as a member of Congress, look, this is legislation, this is tax policy, this is regulation that's coming out of this House that is hurting job creation back home. So I will propose in various ways that we stop doing things that strangle business, that strangle innovation and entrepreneurship, and I will be an advocate for those things that small businesses need to have the confidence and the motivation to hire again, to take risk again, to invest again in our state.
Stand by there, Rob Cornilles. I think you can hang in there. And if you want to ask him any questions, fine. We'll keep him another segment. This is important. Person never wants to come on because never wants to answer any questions because it might reveal that she's just, she lives up to her name, Slow Bo.
May I say something?
Yes.
In the history of doing this show, throughout an entire election campaign, this is the first time that someone has ever not replied or answered to one of my requests one time.
Oh, they've just
a
never
complete
replied?
blackout.
Huh, there you go. I mean, that's exactly how you can expect to be treated by someone who aspires to be your congressional representative. They will black you out. They will ice you out. They will not answer your phone calls. You know, and it's pretty much the same old for those people in the 1st Congressional District. You've been treated like this for 13 years, and guess what? You'll get treated like that for however long this woman, if in fact she aspires and wins that seat, will be there. So I'd say vote for Rob Cornilles because Lord knows I'm going to. And if you have any questions, 503-225-0860. Dave Lister, columnist for the Oregonian, writes, he wants to find out if, oh nuts, what have I done? Oh yeah, do you have any numbers on, let's see, let me make sure, any count on the return ballots yet?
I think that, Dave, the numbers are, I don't have up-to-date numbers. They frankly came out a little slowly from the Secretary of State's office. So I could venture a guess, but I don't want to try to do that because I might be wrong. But basically, we're seeing a trend that's pretty consistent with other elections at this point in the cycle. So it's absolutely critical that those who are listening to this program are going to cast their ballots right away. This is the last day to mail in. After today, you need to drop it off at a drop box. And if you go to CornillesForCongress.com, we have locations that you can click on to find where the closest drop box is to your home. So I can't stress enough, Victoria, it really is about turnout. And I understand that the Republican turnout is just as robust, if not more so, than the Democrat turnout. I just don't think they're very enthusiastic right now about their candidate.
I don't blame them. PJ's calling from Aloha. PJ, what do you want to ask Rob Cornilles?
Hey, Rob, first of all, congratulations for your run. Hey, Rod, I'm a 7-year-old veteran, okay? I've been in business a while, and I'm just wondering, they're going to be building supposedly a bridge across the Columbia soon. Why are we going out of state to purchase the materials for that bridge, number one, and why wouldn't we employ our own people right in this state to do it? I see this over and over again. I was on a plane trip to Minnesota recently, and I sat down to a young man. He was in Oregon to sell their products to us that we could manufacture right here. And I'm just curious if you had an idea what we might change in that.
Well, first of all, I don't know the details of what you're describing, but it sounds like crony capitalism to me if what you said is true. And, you know, I've met with the members of the trade unions here, and I've you know, these people want to go back to work. And I don't know if you belong to one of the trade unions, but these people are, you know, they're desperate for opportunity to participate in employment again.
It's like the Keystone Pipeline. Why wouldn't you approve that? We need the oil and we need the jobs.
Absolutely.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I have been a huge proponent of the pipeline, as I think you know, Victoria, for a whole host of reasons. Not only would it create tens of thousands of jobs immediately, but long term, we're talking hundreds of thousands of jobs for Americans. And just as importantly, it would allow America to make sure that the refining of that oil is done in an environmentally responsible way, not so that China or someone else can do whatever they want with it. And so it's such a reasonably good idea to create energy independence in this country through the Keystone Pipeline. The fact that our president is playing politics with it is just another sign that, you know, we need new leadership. We need new voices in Congress right now to push those types of initiatives forward.
What's the thing you're most passionate about? What's the one thing you want to get done if the first day in office that you just really want to get your hands on?
Well, what I'm most passionate about is job creation, and it goes back to my business. My business has been going since 1995, and what we do is we train people in the skills that are necessary to be more productive and successful at work. And if they don't have a job, we train them in the skills that will make them more marketable and, frankly, more attractive to someone who's looking to hire. And I've been doing that now for years and doing it for people all over the country, and I want to do it full of people right here in Oregon, my neighbors, my community members. And the second thing I got to tell you is that, professionally, I market and promote usually distressed products. I want to market and promote Northwest Oregon because we need it. We've been forgotten for too long.
Right on. Rob Cornilles,